I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're sharing an emotional and deeply inspiring journey of love, faith, and resilience. The name of the book, In a Stroke of Love, Through a Mother's Eyes, Hope and Healing on the Special Needs Journey. It's written by a terrific author. Her name is Lisa J Plett, and she takes us through her 25-year-long journey and experience raising a special needs child while navigating identity, faith, and caregiver burnout. This is a powerful memoir, and it is a must-read for parents, caregivers, and anyone searching for hope and healing through life's toughest challenges. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. We ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much. I count this a privilege.
The privilege is all mine. Loved your book. It's such an important book. So many people have challenges when it comes to raising a child. Of course, some challenges are greater than others. Tell us a little bit about the challenge with your son. He actually suffered a stroke in utero.
Yes, he did. He did. He did. I discovered that day two. A nurse came in and said he had a seizure in the nursery, and that led us on to go down to Indianapolis, and that's when we discovered that he had had a stroke. They said somewhere 3 to 6 weeks before birth.
What were the symptoms that they realized he had a stroke?
Well, basically, it was just that seizure, and that's what alarmed them. And
Okay.
then once they did the EEG and did all the CAT scans and stuff, and that's where they showed the damage in the brain.
And what were the manifestations of that stroke as he aged, as he got older? Did he miss his milestones and his markers?
Oh, totally. And I
Yeah.
lived in denial for the first 9 months, thinking, okay, it's not going to have any side effects.
Yeah.
But yeah, we soon learned that he wasn't using his right side, his right arm. Um, he never crawled. He just scooted on his butt, didn't walk till he was 4, didn't
Mm.
talk till he was 7. So yeah, a lot of delays that came out over the time.
And I'd imagine once he was delivered and you had the testing done in Indianapolis, the doctors could tell you he had a stroke, but they probably couldn't tell you what his life would be like, right?
No, they didn't. They gave us a lot of resources. And like I said, my husband and I, we went home and we're like, okay, he had a stroke. We're going to just say that he's going to be okay. We had no idea. He started physical therapy at 6 weeks old. And, we just went ahead and believing the best. But like, again, um, signs came up pretty fast, and that was really
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah. Have you been able to help him, or tell us how you've been able to help him over the years? I know with adults who have strokes, they get mobility back at times and so forth. Talk to us a little bit about your son's journey. Also share his name with the audience if you would.
Okay, our son's name is Bryson.
Hmm.
And, I was a mama bear. I fought hard. And like I said, he started physical therapy at 6 weeks old. Indiana had some really great resources that, he had occupational therapy and he did speech therapy. And I pushed really hard, like, of trying to find every avenue that we could do. And try to give him all the opportunities he could. Like, again, he didn't walk till he was 7, or didn't walk till he was 4. Using braces, just trying all sorts of different things. And like we had hired a speech therapist after the free, government services were over until he 7 to just try to give him all of the opportunities to try to overcome as best as he could.
Yeah. And he's how old now? He's in his 20s, right?
He's 27 right now.
Right. Amazing. Amazing. And what's his life like today?
Well, basically back in 2022, I was at the end. I was caregiver burnout, and I had been getting some resources, and I ended up moving him to Arizona to an adult development home,
Mhm.
just so that I could become just his mom and not his caregiver.
Yeah.
And so right now he is going to a date program a couple days a week. He's has a part-time job, doing some piecework. He's talking, he's high functioning.
Mhm.
but a lot of disabilities, and kind of he fits in the autistic spectrum actually. He's kind of
Mhm.
got the cerebral palsy diagnosis with he doesn't use his right arm yet. When you see him walk, you
Mm.
can tell that you're like, why is he not falling? Because of the way he walks. But he
Yeah.
has mastered it. He believes he can do anything.
Wonderful, wonderful. And that belief is no doubt because of you, because you had such great belief in him. And your faith and your belief helped you through all of this. Tell us about that, how faith sustained you during these challenging times.
Well, let's just say I asked God a lot of questions. And early on, when I was in denial, and early on, when I was trying to figure out what this future's like, I struggled a lot. And I remember one night I just went into my office and pulled out the Bible and the book of Job and read through the whole entire book. Like,
Mm.
can I sustain this? Can I stand firm like Job did? And so God always was there. And there were times when I wanted to just be really mad at him and let him go, but underneath, like he was always there. And that was my like source of that really kept me together, I think,
Mhm.
because there were some dark days.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, after he went out, completed his high school career and I became a full-time caregiver for him, that's when depression and a lot of things came on me. And yeah, my faith, thank goodness I was grounded in that. I didn't
Mm.
understand the full scope of God's love until I was older, but it was always there.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, it's understandable, the burnout. You're dealt a hand of cards that you never expected in a million years. You're very young when you get this diagnosis that your child's going to have perhaps profound handicaps for the rest of his life. You start questioning, why me?
Yeah.
Why us, God? You have other children, and all of your energy, in many cases, goes to the child who needs it the most. And then you feel torn because you're not giving enough energy and love and support, perhaps, to the other children who are not special needs. Tell us how you deal with all of that.
Well, let's just say there was some guilt in there, and that was definitely a struggle. I always worried about my middle child. His name was Ty. He was a middle child, but then he had to kind of be the older child.
Mhm.
And I sometimes felt like, okay, God, you just got to make sure that Ty and the youngest is Caden, that they make it through without all of my time and energy. But I just believe that God gave them the extra strength and grace, which I think I've seen that in a lot of special
Mm.
needs siblings. Like they learned this extra grace, patience.
Yeah,
I'm sure they were upset at different times too. But it definitely is a hard thing with Bryson being my oldest one too. Like it was involving so much because of his medical, well, the medical things, all the therapies that, yeah, my concentration was on them. And I'm just grateful again to God that
yeah.
they turned out well. And we also, in this whole mix, adopted a 13-year-old from Jamaica
Mhm. Yeah,
that added to my fourth son. And so that was, God called us to do that. And I think later I was like, God, why? I was already exhausted
yeah,
and overwhelmed with the special needs of Bryson. But again, God's grace came through.
yeah. What were the circumstances that you adopted this child from Jamaica?
Well, adoption is something that's quite close to my husband's family, and there were several other Jamaicans in our family already. We went on a mission trip in 2013 to uh, to visit Jamaica, and that's when I first met Stephen. And of course, I was anti-adoption. I'm not
Mhm.
adopting, and I always said that God, if you call me directly to adopt, I will do it. Well, and that's what he did. A few months after that mission trip, I was in the shower and God gave me this profound, like trembling, like something I've never experienced before
Mm.
or since then. And basically, God brought Stephen's picture to my mind and said, he's your son, go get him.
Wow.
And that was the 2-year journey we did to bring him home when he was 13 years old.
Amazing. And bringing a child into your house at 13 is difficult because it's like bringing a young adult into your house. A lot of the personality, a lot of the behaviors, a lot of the traits and characteristics are already formed. What was that integration like?
Let's just say it was difficult.
Yeah.
I put my whole energy into bringing him home, just like I put all my energy into Bryson's therapies over the
Mm.
years. So when he came home, I was exhausted, and here I had followed the call, and I came home, and on day one of being home, after the first night there, I all of a sudden realized this is going to be hard.
Mm.
And I give Stephen a lot of grace of what everything that happened to him. He lived in a children's home for 13 years, and so his entire life. And so it was difficult. Yeah, lots of challenges, but also it's been a blessing, and that's something
Yeah.
that I know has impacted my life. And the biggest thing of it, the adoption piece took me to my lowest place of depression.
Mm.
And then that is what set me to counseling and to get help. And I am the person I am today because I got to the bottom of myself and found help and got the healing I need to now I can be the best mom I can for
Yeah.
all my boys.
Yeah. Difficult. May I ask you how counseling helped?
Oh my goodness. It was incredible. I had started out with a spiritual director and she did amazing, but then I realized that my personality type needed the the unique techniques and things that professional counselors and therapists are trained with. And it was just I went every couple of weeks, and it was just the continual piece of her asking things, a different technique she used. We did EMDR, we did some family systems, we did a lot of different aspects of that. And that just like having someone that I could just bare my soul to, and she just continued to stay with me. And there were times that like I was like, why isn't she not just done with me? So
Yeah.
you can't be fixed. And there were many times when I told her too, I'm going to be a caregiver all my life, and Bryson's always going to live with me. So then when the journey came where I actually moved him out, like it was just like how she had helped me just continually take steps forward, even though I took some steps back, steps forward
Mm.
into reaching that, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to learn to kind of like forgive yourself and that not everything's on you. It's not all your responsibility, that you can only do so much, and that you have a right to happiness in your own life as well, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. It's
I
well said.
mean, because yeah, I mean, as we only go around this earth for a limited number of rotations, and we want as much joy out of it as we can, and we do get joy out of raising and rearing our children. But there, for every stage in life, there is a different season, to quote the Bible or paraphrase. And there is a season to, be yourself and enjoy your time with your husband and so forth. And it sounds like you've got Brayson set up in a wonderful situation now, and he's thriving and knows that you love him and you're there with him a lot. You're there with him now.
Yes.
So I think you're still super mom.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
sure. Tell me what you hope readers take away from your book.
Well, I just want them to know that they're not alone in this journey. This thing is a story about, Bryson and what all I did for him, but really it was about my identity and how I learned to accept myself, see myself through God's eyes. Like I grew up with, not enough, not worthy, a lot of those issues. And so as a mom, again, we have a lot of mom guilt. We have a lot of, we're going to take care of our kids. And so I just want people to know that they're not alone in this journey of raising special needs kids. And that anybody who loves somebody with them, to have them read it to be like, okay, this is how a lot of moms are who are out there with their kids, especially as they get older. And all of a sudden, we have all these living losses where they're not going to go on a date. They're not going to drive a car. They're not going to be invited to the birthday party. All those things that are so difficult um, that it's to take it in. Like it took me a long time before I was able to process it and to really grasp my grief. Like I didn't notice or I didn't know it was grief. Like I was just kept on going. And it wasn't until even through counseling that I realized this is grief. Like this is
Mm.
something that I need to deal with. Because
Yeah.
so often I thought grief was in a total loss, like a death. Well, kind of sometimes every day, every week, you can have a loss, a death of a dream, of a vision. And so that's what I want to just have readers just to know that they're not alone, that God is faithful. But you do have to do the work. Like you do have to do the work to dig deep into who you are, what's driving you, and ultimately, reach out to your village, your support, counseling if you need it, so that you can totally be healthy.
Yeah. You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help others. Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely. The
Yeah.
name of the book is In a Stroke of Love Through a Mother's Eyes, Hope and Healing on the Special Needs Journey. It's written by Lisa J Plett, and she takes us through her 25-year-long journey and experience raising a special needs child while navigating identity, faith, and caregiver burnout. It is a powerful memoir, and it is a must-read for parents, caregivers, or anyone searching for hope and healing through life's toughest challenges. Lisa, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so glad I was able to share my story with you.
So glad you did. I appreciate your time and your candor. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time until next time on Spotlight.